Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to be analysing EU and DXY to see what day trading opportunities there may be today. You'll see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Okay, starting at the daily, EU on the top, DXY on the bottom. So yesterday you can see we finally had a bullish day and it was a massive bullish engulfing candle close out on EU after we mitigated some of this imbalance and order block area here. So I was mentioning that price looked to be decelerating, and that seems to be the case. We were due some sort of pullback after all of this bearish price action, and we are in this discount. So nice bullish day. Inversely on DXY, don't ask me what's happening on this daily chart here. There's something wrong with the provider on TradingView obviously, so we'll see more on the lower time frame. But otherwise we have our previous daily high, previous daily low on both. You can see we've already gone through our previous daily high on EU, and I believe we also have, once we go down into the lower time frames, on DXY as well. So we are in the discount of this daily leg. We have this daily fair value gap here pointed out, which we are coming up to possibly fill soon. So we'll see more about that on the lower time frames. So saying that, let's go down to the 4 hour. Cool, so on the 4 hour, this is the 4 hour leg I identified, this huge bearish leg here. We are of course in the discount of that leg now. So we noticed this deceleration over the last couple of days at the lows here, and we swept some sell side liquidity finally before having that bullish day. As you can see, I've got some POIs drawn out. We have the daily fair value gap, and just above that a 4 hour order block with imbalance as well. So that's up here. So these are around the equilibrium. So they're not necessarily in a premium, but they do look like a good area, especially combined to provide some resistance. We could quite easily come up into this daily fair value gap today and the 4 hour imbalance and close below it as some sort of rejection on the daily. So that's still something that can happen. And obviously, of course, if we were to come up higher, then it's because we have these imbalances as well to fill, and POI is more in a premium. So we could have a shallow pullback and price continue its bearish trend, or we could have a deeper pullback, and this could be part of more a complex pullback. We could come to this area, pull back down temporarily, and then come back up for some more premium prices to fill these imbalances. But without looking too much into the future, this is our immediate resistance here. We have imbalances all the way up to fill. Again, they are all stacked together as a confluence, so we can see what price action does around these areas. Inversely on DXY, we have the same 4 hour imbalance, and then this dotted line here is the daily fair value gap as well, which is below. Like I said, we've gone above our previous daily high and previous daily low on DXY. So far, we haven't closed out as rejecting that area from the buy side liquidity or anything. So we are probably still bullish for now. So I think that's everything to talk about on the 4 hour. So let's jump down to the 1 hour and see what that shows. So what I did like on the 1 hour yesterday, when I said we were starting to create some sort of like tighter range, was the possibility of the breakout. So when we do start to squeeze price and create this sort of tighter range at the bottom here in the discount after mitigating this POI, it means that it's a bit easier for us to break out from. So now we've clearly got a new higher high above this high here, swept some sell side liquidity, and then we've broke out here above these highs, and we could look like we've got a new internal bullish leg. So we have the external 4 hour leg here, which we're still bearish on, and we're in the discount of, but we have this new bullish 1 hour breakout within that. So we look to, at least for the temporary time being, on the 1 hour, we have a bullish leg, and we can look for some longs when we pull back down to discounts, or shorts from the premium. So just as on the 4 hour, we have our imbalances here. We have a 1 hour POI within that 4 hour POI. So the confluences are stacked in this area for some resistance. There's also some previous lows here, and you know how previous lows can become from support to resistance. We have left behind some imbalance here. We may not mitigate it at this time, but that's what I've noticed. We've left behind this imbalance just around this area with some equal lows around there as well. So it's a good spot for price to come for some sort of sell side liquidity, and I'm sure we'll see it on a lower time frame. Inversely on DXY, same as EU, we've broken below these lows, and below this low. So we do look like we've got a new bearish leg, at least until this area of support here. So price looks to be drawn towards these imbalances. Again, as on the 4 hour, we still have more imbalance below, but we'll see how price reacts around this area first. So we look to be confirmed, obviously, to be having some sort of bullish pullback. So we can look for longs, but in my opinion, we can also look for shorts because we are in the discount of this area. So it's nice to look for longs now that we've made new higher highs. But also we will be a premium of this 1 hour leg, and we've taken plenty of buy side liquidity, so we can look for those temporary shorts as well, especially once we reach to these higher time frame order blocks and imbalances. So let's go down to the M15 and see if there's anything available for today. So unfortunately for yesterday, even though I wanted longs, there was no clear opportunities for me. I marked out this one, which was probably the only sort of trading idea I could see, but it didn't really form in the way I wanted to. Obviously it would have been a break even for me. It played out in that direction, but yeah, that was the only opportunity I saw when I was looking for the longs, but nothing A plus for me to jump in on. So to today, you can see we've got our Asia range here. We've stacked lows here. So we have pretty much 3 equal lows. I know we've kind of swept this low here, but we've got 2 kind of equal lows. So I think for me, if I'm to look for longs, if we was to just jump back up to the 1 hour here, like I said, we've got this imbalance area just below those lows. So we have an imbalance on the 1 hour just below these 15-minute lows here. I think personally, especially now we've taken the buy side liquidity from this Asia range, and the normal cycle is to then come and take the other side. So this is sell side liquidity stacked below here. So I think if I were to look for longs today, I would need price to come down into this area, taking out these lows, mitigating this 1 hour POI, and then price can either come up, break in this high, right? And then we get our pullback to our POI there to go long. So something like this, or we can, this high doesn't have to be that high, but however this pullback structure happens to come and take this sell side liquidity here. So we would have the sell side liquidity from Asia lows, which should be attracting price, because when we leave equal lows, usually price will come and be attracted towards those. We also have an order block here, but I can see price sweeping this. So we would have our sell side liquidity sweep, our break of structure, and then we would have some type of corrective pullback, which would leave a possible inducement for our entry, and we would enter off of our imbalance or fair value gap around here, setting our order to go long to, we can just look for the previous high with the stop below the order block or imbalance, or you can target one of these higher time frame POIs. So this is something I foresee for longs, because I want to see some sell side liquidity swept. It could happen around this mid area here, but this would look good because I think we've stacked some nice sell side liquidity, and we have our 1 hour POI here. So if that imbalance gets filled and this gets swept or mitigated somewhat, it would be nice to see some sort of structure either form here and break out, or the structure on the way down, we spike into this and break above it. So that's the first opportunity I could see there. And obviously if we look to DXY, we have the same stacked buy side liquidity above its Asia highs. So that would be a good area for it to come up, take these highs for buy side liquidity, and then look to continue downwards to go towards its POI as well, which would be attracting its price. Now for sell opportunities, I wouldn't see those immediately where we are in price, unless we get something surprising where price just switches order flow, which I'm not going to draw out. But I think the buy is a bit more obvious at the moment if we come down and take this, but I think the sells need to happen from up here. I think we need to come into these areas, mitigate something, maybe sweep its internal liquidity and then break down. I think that would be the more high probability sells for us to possibly continue with the trend, at least temporarily. So this is how I would want to see it. So we've got our buy side liquidity sweep here, breaker structure here, pullback, leave an inducement here, and then we would have our possible imbalance or order block on a lower time frame for us to set our order and short from here down to wherever we target, right? So that's just an example. If I just zoom out a little bit, so that's an example of a short. I'm not too worried about us going short directly from the daily fair value gap, because obviously that needs to play out over the day. I do think if we come into this daily fair value gap, we may see some sort of retrace, but ultimately price would probably want to head towards these POIs and then just close out the day below this. So this week does look like we've played out a good weekly cycle, very predictable one, where Tuesday created the low of the week, right? So I doubt we're going to make a new low at any time this week, so that's why it gave that good bullish bias for the week there once Wednesday continued to create that bullish order flow. So again, just to reiterate, I see the sales coming from up here. This is where the good high quality sales would be with our high time frame POIs. The only order flow ones would be, again, if we switched order flow, swept some buy side liquidity internally and then continued going lower. But I think we need to come up to more of a premium for those POIs. So I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Thank you to anyone that has made it to the end of this video, and remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.